everybody, I'm Sari Custer and this is Sari on Science for Arizona Science Center. Now, of course, I'm not at the Science Center, but I am at home practicing safe social distancing, much like most of you. But don't worry, just because the Science Center is closed doesn't mean that the science has to end. We've got opportunities to satisfy your curiosity right here. So I've got an activity for you to try at home with supplies you likely already have in your kitchen. We're going to do some cabbage juice chemistry today. All you need is a little purple or red cabbage. You can get that right at the grocery store. I've got a blender. I have some hot water here in a measuring cup. I've got a strainer. You know what a strainer looks like. A strainer. I've got a big pitcher. A bowl would work too. I've got a couple of glasses here with a little bit of water in them at the moment. And then just a few other supplies that I had around the house. I've got some vinegar. I have some lime juice, baking soda, and I'm using a little Windex here. Also need some materials for just mixing and stirring, so I've got a couple of reusable straws, I've got a measuring spoon, and last but not least, my very important, my discard bowl, if you will. I'm going to set that aside. All right, so what we're going to do is make a cabbage juice indicator. So from this, we need to make juice. So first things first, you need to peel off some of the leaves and start to make juice. Put it right into the blender. And now, this doesn't have to be pretty. You can just tear it. It's kind of soothing right now, actually, to be honest, just to be able to rip it right off the top there. And if you want to make it easier on yourself and use a knife to chop it up, you can do that too. You can use kitchen scissors. But I find that it's a lot of fun to do, especially with my daughter. She likes to do all the ripping. She also likes the blender part. So, all right, about 2, maybe 3 leaves, that should suffice. I'm going to take my pile here and just throw it right into the blender, rip it up just a little more, right into the blender. And the other thing then is your water. So I'm using tap water. I put it into my big, I have an 8-cup measuring cup. You're really only going to need about maybe 4 cups of water. And I stuck it in the microwave so that it would be hot. And right now it's been sitting out a little bit, so warm water is even good. It's going to work just fine. So fill your blender about halfway after you put the leaves in, because this is how you're going to get your juice. And you can see it's already starting to turn purple in my blender here. I'll move this aside so you can see it a little better. All right, make sure that your blender top is on there really nice and secure. Whatever reason mine doesn't want to, there we go, doesn't want to go on today. And like I said, here's my daughter's other fun part. All right, if you've given it a good whirl, you want to chop up those bits of cabbage really, really small, because again, it's the juice we want. We want to unlock all the juice. All right, so once you've done that, you can set the water and the cabbage aside. You need your big pitcher. As I mentioned, a bowl will work too. I'm going to put the strainer right on top. Let me get this vinegar out of the way. Put the strainer right on top, and then you're going to pour everything in so you can strain out all of those bits of cabbage juice. We don't need the solid pieces. We just need the juice, and this strainer is going to help us separate those. All right. I think I mentioned before, I'm just using tap water. If for some reason you decide you want to use bottled water, you'll likely get a little lighter color. It'll be slightly more pink. All right, I'm going to put that over here, and here's where the discard bowl comes in. All those solids can go right into the bowl. It's just a bunch of pulp. This is perfectly safe at this point to now put in your compost pile. Feel free to do that, or if you don't have one, you can put it in the trash. Set aside your strainer. I filled all of these glasses about half full with water, just because you can see the colors a little bit better if it's a little lighter. This is really concentrated juice. So when you pour this out, you're going to get a nice bright purple color. Look at how pretty that is. It's a beautiful color. And what we're using this for is to test acid base. So you're creating an acid base indicator. That red cabbage, that purple color, is caused by a chemical called anthocyanins. So those anthocyanins change in the presence of acids or bases and change color. So here, we're going to use them to tell us whether or not different substances in our home are acidic or basic. Now, when you're talking about foods, acids tend to be the tangy ones. So like lemons, oranges, things with citric acid in them, they tend to be tart and tangy. When they're basic, they're a little more bitter. So think about if you've ever, I don't know if you've ever tasted baking soda, but it's pretty bitter. That tends to go basic. Other things in our home that you shouldn't eat, of course, chemicals like Windex, so window cleaner, ammonia is in here. So the ammonia is basic, bleach is basic. You can test other materials too, because I'll show you how to figure out which ones are which. And that's part of the fun right there, is having your family start to come up with these ideas. What are their theories around which ones are going to change and which ones aren't? So have them start coming up with a hypothesis and just test things out. Have a little fun with being curious. All right, so we've got 5. We're going to leave this one in the middle here, and we'll start with, well, let's start with vinegar. You just need a couple of drops, and you can pour it straight into the glass, and you can see what happens here. I just got my big gallon. I don't want to spill it. There we go. All right, and instantly that starts to change. You can see how pink this is. I'm gonna use my little stir rod. All right, now we're going to try with a couple drops of juice. There we go. I'm going to stir this one here. That one also turns pink. It's not quite as bright as the vinegar. I also used a little bit more. And just in case you're wondering, vinegar is acetic acid, and then as I mentioned before, this lime juice that we're using, or lemon juice, has citric acid in it. We're going to leave this one in the center so that we have something to compare to. Then here I'm going to test with us just a little bit. Here's just a little scoop of baking soda, and we'll add that in and give it a stir. And look how blue that one gets. All right, and last but certainly not least, you want to be careful with this one. With this whole activity, you want to make sure that you're using some adult supervision. But here I'm going to pour in just a little bit of this Windex. There you go. And you can see that change right away. I've got one more straw in here. And now you want to make sure that you're going to wash these cups really well when you're done with those. But give it a good stir, and you can see that one has turned green. Now, if it was really concentrated, it'd be like a forest green. Here it's a really pretty, like almost a teal color. But look at this great rainbow of colors we got. It's a lot of fun just to have fun with rainbows here on St. Patrick's Day, but also having a little fun being curious about what items are in our homes. So this is how you use red cabbage to create an acid base indicator and just having a little bit of fun. All right, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. Of course, leave messages in the comments below. Give us a like. Thank you for watching today. If you have more interest in learning additional science while you are at home practicing your safe social distancing, check us out at azscience.org on our Peace of Mind Knowledge HQ website. All right, you guys have a great day, and we'll see you next time with Sari on Science.